It's the end of the month, which means it's time for another episode of The Rec Room. If you don't already know, The Rec Room is a series where I recommend lesser heard of indie games based on their more popular counterparts, and today we're going to be talking about Hades. Do you like Hades?
Yeah!
Hades nuts!
No!
Hades is the hack and slash roguelite that sees you cutting through Greek mythology's hell in order to free yourself from the prison that your father, Hades himself, has stuck you in. Hades is one of the most popular indie games of all time, bringing the roguelite genre to tons of normie gremlins all around the world.
I like it a lot.
So today on The Rec Room, let's look at games to play if you like Hades. First, I want to shout out a roguelite co-op game that of all the games on this list is the least similar to Hades, but can scratch the same itch. Wildwood sees you and three friends essentially guarding a payload as you march through a procedurally generated wood. The game mixes light scavenging with top-down hack and slash combat. During the day, you'll gather resources, powering up your goat and adding fuel to your fire, and then at night you'll defend the cart off against the monsters that attack it. One of my favorite aspects about Wildwoods is the managing of these resources. Yes, in the momentary you can use them as fuel or to heal your party, but if you save them you can use them as currency for cart upgrades. In a single player game this would be a fun test of what's immediately necessary and what's important for the future, but in a multiplayer setting this adds a whole other layer that often ends with you and your friends shouting about herbs. I also really dig the cart pushing mechanic here. Other co-op roguelites suffer from players feeling forced to slow down or speed up to match their friends, but in this the cart always dictates the speed, and I think that adds the perfect wrinkle to make co-op feel seamless. But now it's time for our all-new segment, Roll That Dice! A 4? You know what that means! Lost in Random Eternal Die doesn't release until June 17th, but what I've played of the demo was absolutely fantastic. I love the dice rolling attack, which can give you bonus damage based on the number you roll and the abilities you have. I love the stop motion inspired animation that gives this game an incredibly distinct style. I love the wacky characters, all which bring a certain amount of flavor not found in other games of the genre, and I love the abilities which can be placed in rows based on the color to create powerful buffs. The game feels super unique and coherent. It's not an action roguelite because it's a popular genre. It's an action roguelite because in the context of this world, that genre makes the most sense, with the main idea of randomized dice making the procedurally generated world and randomized loot pickups a no-brainer. In general, the combat here feels great, the world is fun to explore, and the abilities all force you to play in unique manners. All in all, I'm super excited for the full launch of Lost in Random Eternal Die. Okay, but hear me out. This Ninja Turtles Hades is like the best Hades that isn't Hades. In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, you can either play alone or with up to 3 friends. It mixes together the top-down isometric hack-and-slash combat of Hades with the classic side-scrolling beat-em-up visual style of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games from the 80s. It's like the perfect idea. Obviously, all 4 Ninja Turtles have their own way of playing. Donatello's got his stick, Leonardo's got his katana, Michelangelo's got his nunchucks, Raphael's got the dual daggers, and I have this nuclear warhead. I hope I don't have to use it. They all play totally differently, and they're all predictably fun. The variety of enemies, environments, and abilities is okay, but they definitely don't do much to make the game stand out on its own. The reason this excels is its Ninja Turtle nostalgia, its incredibly seamless co-op, and its perfectly tuned difficulty. It doesn't do the things Hades does particularly well, but it does its own thing so well in order to stand out from a crowded genre. Okay, but finally we have a 2-for-1. Dandy Ace and Rainreaker are 2 more shrunk-down versions of Hades. Their scope and enemy variety are smaller, and in general both games are quite a bit easier, meaning that runs through them take a lot less time, but both games absolutely are worth the reduced price tag. Dandy Ace offers a magical variety of card abilities that make you feel like more of a party magician and less of a guy who could actually go on dates. You spellcast around as Dandy does his thing. The visual variety here is definitely unique, and there's a lot of enemies and abilities to make the screen full of color. On the other hand, Rainbreakers is as close to a straight ripoff of Hades as possible. The visual style is almost identical, albeit with an Arthurian steampunk vibe. The gameplay is also super similar, utilizing Hades' hack and dash conceit with a few weapon options and skillable perks. Ultimately though, it's a really good time, and it does just enough to differentiate itself. Both of these titles are cheaper than other games in the genre, so for that reason alone, they can be worth a pickup. Hades is one of the greatest indie games of all time, so it's natural that a lot of similar games spawned from its creation. Some that I didn't discuss today totally rip off the formula, but these all add some unique elements that make themselves worth playing. Whether that's seamless co-op, beautiful animation, or a grounded premise, these games are all excellent titles worth checking out if you like Hades. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Blurbs, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye now. But wait! Before I go, allow me to recommend some wonderful patrons. I don't know what I'm recommending them for, but... Anyway, Aven, Nickel Simba, Spider-Man on my new PS5, Johnny Hammerstick, Shenangelo, I Want an Apple, and Bandwagon. You guys are all the best. Thank you so much for another month of support, and I'll see you all next week for video 200. Bye-bye.